still feel weird
I
when we
sometimes
come
it
here. I
depends.
still have those weird moments of feeling like, I don't know.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
It's Sunday, so y'all know what time it is.
Another
Pages and
week.
perspectives. Yes, another week for pages and perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Reading The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F. This is chapters 5 and 6. So welcome to Pages and Perspectives. This is a live Sunday book club where we explore meaningful books through open conversation and shared reflections.
Yes.
As we always say, this is an open space for everyone. You do not have to be reading this book in order to join in the conversation. If you are returning, thank you for returning. If you've never seen our faces before, please stay tuned and we will discuss the chapters that we read. The reason we say that you don't have to be reading the book is because by sharing our perspectives, it usually opens the conversation to a variety of different topics where you don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have to be reading the book to participate and share your perspective. Just some more like ground rules. We do not fix here. This is not a space for fixing people. This is just sharing um, and learning. And I think it really works well with some of the stuff we read this week about,
Yes.
just learning and, being open to not necessarily changing, sometimes just listening to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're here for. This is our hour every Sunday dedicated to growth. And we thank everyone for being here, everyone who's watching live and on the replay.
Yes. So welcome to everyone watching and everyone on the replay. That was a wonderful introduction, Ozzy. I'm glad you added that at the end too, because it is about having your mind open to
Hmm.
different ideas.
Right.
So yeah, I love that you added that at the end.
Yes. And now T will help us with our chapter overviews for 5 and 6.
Yes, there was a lot crammed into these chapters, so I'm
Mhm.
just gonna skim, try to
Okay.
get in everything that I can get in. So we're covering the chapters 5 and 6 in the subtle art of not giving AF this week, and it's by Mark Manson. If you don't have the book or don't haven't seen the book, this is the book we are covering. And welcome, Roman.
Hi, Roman.
So these chapters are really focused on the ideas of taking responsibility for your life
Hmm.
and being willing to admit when you're wrong,
Yes.
both of which can be very difficult.
Hmm.
Very difficult things.
Hmm.
Chapter 5 is about you are always choosing. So in this chapter, Mark goes over, he explains the difference between fault and taking responsibility. Fault and responsibility are two different things, meaning that something can happen to you. It's not your fault, but you're still responsible for how you respond to it. For example, we can't control everything that happens in our lives. Like people are going to disappoint us, they're going to hurt us, we're going to have situations that change and things that are completely out of our control. But our power comes from how we choose to react to those situations.
Hmm.
So it's more about what you decide to do with the cards you're dealt. And it,
Yeah.
it actually made me think about our previous book
Hmm.
that we read. Um, so instead of focusing on blame and staying stuck in what happened to you, you can ask yourselves questions like, what am I going to do about it?
Hmm.
Basically, this is what I've been dealt. Now, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do about it? So, taking responsibility doesn't mean that you're blaming yourself for what happened. Like we said, that those things might not be your fault,
Hmm.
but it means recognizing that you still have control over your actions, your mindset, and your next steps.
Hmm.
So, you're not losing total control
Right.
over the situation. It's controlling what you can control. Again, this reminds me a lot of the let them theory.
Mhm.
and what we covered
The
in
let me
those.
portion.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Let me control what I can control. Yeah, that's
Right.
what it made me think about. So another thing that was covered in that chapter was when we stop giving our energy to blaming others or circumstances, you actually take control over your
Mhm.
own life. So that was what I got out of that chapter. There's some stories in there. I'm not going to go into all of them because there were so many of them.
Yeah, they were a lot of different stories in
That
that one.
the one notable story from chapter 5 is the story of, I think it's William James.
Mhm.
He was basically a sickly child. He had a lot of health issues.
Mhm.
He had siblings. They were all successful. They were all doing their thing, but he could not find his way.
Mhm.
Couldn't finish anything he started. His father was like, "Look, I'm going to give you one last chance." Enrolled him in Harvard Medical School. He didn't
Mhm.
want to be a doctor. He
Right.
was not interested in it at all. He
Mhm.
ended up dropping out, and he wanted to take his life.
Mhm.
He was just like, I'm useless. I'm just going to take my life. But he gave himself one opportunity. He said, for the next year, I'm going to take control of my situation
Mhm.
and see where that leads me. And if after 1 year I'm still in the same situation, then I'm going to end it.
Mm.
And this man became one of our most talked about philosophers and
Mhm.
psychologists in history. Like,
Yeah. He called
he
him the
even had a
father of
child that won a
psychology.
Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
Like, so
And they
that
called him
year,
the father of psychology.
hmm
I had never heard of him though. I don't think. Have you? Had you?
I've heard of him one time, and I think it was in a class in college, but
Okay.
not very, but very briefly.
Mhm.
But yeah. So look at what him taking control of his circumstances did. Look at
Mhm.
what he contributed to
Right.
the world. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that was one of the stories I just threw in there. Okay, and then chapter 6 talks about. I'm sorry if I'm looking down. I'm reading my notes that I wrote down.
Mhm.
Chapter 6 is you're wrong about everything, but so am I.
Mhm.
So before I get into that, I wanted to welcome Chef and someone else came in. I know Roman's in here and Corey.
Hi, Corey. Hi, Chef.
So welcome everyone.
Hi, Danielle.
Chapter 6 was about you're wrong about everything. It was titled You're Wrong About Everything, but So Am I. And in this chapter, it focuses on the idea that many of the beliefs that we have and our perspectives of the world are actually incomplete and outdated.
Mhm.
As we grow and we experience life, we start making our belief system
Mhm.
from our personal experiences. But what might have been true years ago may not be true today. But our brain actually holds on to that.
Mhm.
And we kind of judge everything based off of those things that we've ingrained in our mind.
Right.
And the author talks about growth coming from the fact that you're willing to question your own beliefs. And
Mhm.
that can be really hard. It can be
Yep.
really hard to question something that you've thought all your life
Mhm.
and to think that maybe I'm wrong. But he put a good example together. He talked about how we look back at people in times before us
Mhm.
and we can see all their mistakes.
Yep.
We can see where they went wrong.
Mhm.
And he was saying, like, basically, one day somebody's going to be looking at our lives right now and
Right.
see all the places we went wrong.
Mhm.
Because life is pretty much just an ever changing cycle of you want to be just a little bit more right each
Right.
time,
Yep.
but you're never going to get to that perfect stage where you're right all the time because no one knows everything.
Exactly.
No one's going to be right all the time.
Mhm.
So He basically says that being wrong isn't a weakness, it's actually a part of learning. It's a
Right.
part of learning to be wrong.
Hmm.
And to even open your mind to the fact that you are wrong. And that can be difficult. I think we talked about this last week, Oslin, about
Yeah.
how when we feel we're right,
Hmm.
you just want to be right. Because I know I'm
Right.
like that too.
Yeah. Right. Uh-huh.
But it takes a lot to open your mind to the fact that maybe you're not right. Maybe you're wrong.
Yes. Hmm.
So those were the key takeaways that I got from the chapter about how your mindset basically allows you to keep growing and learning and improving your self improvement over time
Hmm.
from keeping your mind open to the fact that you don't know everything
Right.
and that you could be wrong. So
Hmm.
that's what I got out of the chapters. Hopefully, that was a pretty good coverage.
Yes, that was awesome. That was very, very good, T. And thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
So yeah, I agree, and like we said so far every week for this book, the chapters like are compact. They're compact. Cause I like, and then the thing is gonna be interesting about our book club is that, we've never done this before. We're reading the books for the first time. So a lot of it we'll just learn along the way. But I was
Hmm.
thinking this was like one book. If I would have knew, I probably would have said we probably would have said, let's do one chapter at a time.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
because
So
you look
yeah,
at it. This does not look like much. It doesn't
right.
look like it. When I first got it, I said, "Oh man, we'll finish this in a few weeks. Like this is nothing."
Yeah.
But he crammed so much into these
Hmm.
chapters. Like
Yeah.
one chapter is basically like three chapters.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's so much
Hmm.
like great information and it's like a web of information. So, I don't know. I really did enjoy these chapters from what I read. You were like getting close to my gem drop when you're describing chapter 6, but
Hmm.
I still have I have the piece that I want to read. But
Okay.
as far as the takeaways, like it's so much. Like we said, talked about a little earlier, victimhood chic,
Ooh, yes, 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 yes.
victimhood chic. That was very, very interesting because oh yeah, that's another thing I like about this author. And it's in the reviews, it's in everybody that reads it, but he doesn't like he allowed himself the outlet to not have to be politically correct.
Yes.
And I appreciate that because yes, we like politically correct. We don't like rude, we don't like that, but sometimes things just need to be said,
Mm-hmm.
and the part about victimhood chic is basically what we see a lot of times nowadays. You know what I mean? One of the things for me,
Mm-hmm.
as I was reading that, my brain, the way my brain works is like I'm reading it and I'm already like, it's like for some reason I can't just read or listen. I'm not gonna say I can't, but I'm working on just listening because my brain is
Mm-hmm.
already automatically like responding to what
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing. So when he started talking about victimhood chic and just the way he was describing it, I was kind of like, well, some people really are, victims. And
Yeah.
then when he got to the point about how victimhood chic takes away attention from real victims, I'm like, okay, yes, I understand what you're saying. And for
Mm-hmm.
those who may not have read that, um, T, you can help me explain this too if you want to. But like basically we live in a society right now where it's kind of popular to be upset about something. It's popular to have a cause that you feel very strongly about and you want justice and you want, all
Mm-hmm.
these things. But um I'm not as a gem drop, but I'm gonna read what he said about that part really
Mm-hmm.
quickly.
Because
He
he goes
said
into how it all plays in together, how the news even
the new
perpetuates the
yes.
cycle
Hmm.
of us
He said
staying in it.
yes. basically speaking about how people get addicted to feeling offended all the time because it gives them a high. Being self-righteous and morally superior feels good. And sometimes that is presented as outrage, and so in our society you can name a million different things at this point that people are upset about, stuff that people will be upset about, and then they literally have to explain it because nobody else has identified this as a
Yeah.
problem yet. So you have to explain it, and then once you explain it, you get other people enraged, and now you have this thing where we're like, let's fix this. You know what I mean? So I think just that point alone was very interesting, about how that works, because you know and I think he may have tied it into us not always being right. I don't know, it's
That's
it's a
exactly
web.
what he tied it
Yeah,
into.
it's like a web of things, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But that victimhood chic was really, it stuck out to me because I feel like my generation is very on that. They
Mm-hmm.
come up with all kind of stuff to be mad about. Oh gosh, I don't know if I want to bring up this point. Maybe I will. So 2020,
Mm-hmm.
when George Floyd was murdered, and that sparked so much like outrage all over the
Yes.
world. George Floyd was murdered, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that in itself was a thing. To me, that was a real issue.
Mm-hmm.
That was a real issue. You know, the victimhood chic side of that, around that same time, people started being upset that Aunt Jemima syrup said Aunt Jemima. So
Yeah.
they
I
want to
remember
reverse it
that. I
and make
remember
it
that.
Pearl
And
Mining
Uncle
Company.
Ben's too, if I'm not
Uncle
mistaken.
Ben's, like they
Yeah.
started trying to go back to like making this problem that we're facing as African Americans, or Black Americans rather.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh, so this happened, and not only this happened, but this, and it's like, okay, I don't personally know any Black American people that had that issue with Aunt Jemima syrup saying Aunt Jemima.
Yeah.
So it's like this real issue, it got attention, don't get me wrong,
Yes, it
but
did.
but the victimhood chic of it was also added. It was added another layer of like, maybe like okay, yeah, but is that really a problem compared to this one right here? You know what I mean? So
I
that's
see what
kind
you're
of,
saying. It took away some of the power
yes.
of the original thing, the real issue that we were
Right.
trying to get to. Like
Exactly.
it diverted attention away
Mhm.
from something that it could have had the sole focus and attention that maybe could have sparked
Mhm.
change, could have sparked
Absolutely.
a, yeah. I see
Yeah,
what you're
because
saying
it
with
was it
that.
was definitely on the path of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it caught attention from so many people, and so many people were fed up. We're already locked down. It's 2020. Like, what the heck is going on? And like I said, it did get attention, but I did see other like things growing from it, and it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, that's not really what we're saying. I remember people like taking statues, and I'm not saying I don't like that they did this, but this is what they
I
did. They would
understand what you're saying.
take statues and like throw the statues into the ocean and all that, and that's like, I understand, but this happened, and
Mm-hmm.
this is a deeper issue. You know what I'm saying, like the fact that
Mm-hmm.
this even happened and people are double-sided about it is an issue. So can we just pause on the syrup right now and pause on the statues and like just focus on this? So yeah, I think that that was that was a very interesting concept that he talked about,
Yeah,
and
and
that's just one of
it's
them.
a
That's just
whole web
one.
of things. It's a
Yeah,
whole
like,
web of
hmm,
constant outrage, and
yeah,
how constant outrage never really leads to a solution.
right,
It's just a web of outrage.
hmm,
If everybody's just angry, nothing's really getting done about the problem.
yeah,
And we kind of live in a constant outrage whole world right now, it seems. Everybody's angry
hmm,
24/7.
hmm,
And we live in a cycle of it because the news perpetuates it as well. It
Mm-hmm.
keeps feeding. It feeds the outrage. It's like
Right.
even when people get calm and we start talking about, I don't know, some kitten getting rescued off a building or something
Mm-hmm.
sweet, some sweet, nice story, it's going to be immediately followed up with outrage
Right.
because it's like a machine feeding the outrage. If
Absolutely.
I'm making sense.
No, absolutely, 100%. And so, yeah, that's one thing that I took away was that part.
Hmm.
But like I was saying, especially to people that didn't read it, this was only one tiny piece of one chapter, and you could literally go deep into that. That's what we mean when we say it's compact. It's like it's broken down, but it's like you can literally go in on all of them.
Yes, exactly. I'm trying to see what I would. Oh man, what's my biggest thing that I? Because that was one of them. You got the victimhood chic part,
Hmm.
and I was honestly one of the parts that struck me was when he was talking about taking responsibility.
Hmm.
Really, kind of well, accountability
Yes.
as well, but and how we get stuck in our own way. we
Hmm.
we feed ourselves something and we say this is it, this is what it's going to be. We never challenge that to see if we can. I'm going to use a situation. Let's say, um I don't know, I'm trying to think of a situation that I can relate it to. A person that grew up in a certain circumstance.
Hmm.
Let's just say they grew up in a place where, not many people really made it out of, that it
Hmm.
was just hard. You know, most of the people were, struggling to get by. They never thought that they could be anything other than that. Like they thought they
Right.
were stuck there forever.
Hmm.
And if you feed yourself that, if you tell yourself, this is it for me, I'm never
Hmm.
getting out of here, this is where I'm going to be forever, you almost lock yourself into that.
Right. Because you're
Because,
choosing, you're
yeah.
deciding. Hmm.
Hmm. And you never challenge the fact that maybe never once saying, I'm going to try.
Hmm.
I'm going to try to see what I can do that can try to elevate me out of this situation.
Right.
If you just accept that and never try,
Hmm.
you're almost guaranteed to have the result that you said in your brain.
Right.
I'm never getting out of here. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You're almost guaranteed that.
Right.
But when he was talking about that, he was talking about taking responsibility for what you can do. Not saying everybody's going to succeed at everything they try. Because
Hmm.
we know that, you know, it sometimes it just doesn't happen for you.
Right.
But you're in control of what you're telling yourself and what you even strive to do. So
Hmm.
if you've already defeated yourself, you've guaranteed your spot to just be exactly where you are.
Yep. Hmm.
And I see a lot of people doing that even today.
Hmm.
I see a lot of people who do that. They don't even attempt to
Right.
change the situation. They just say this is what it is, this is what it's always going to be.
Hmm.
They defeat themselves before they start.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's a sad thing when you think about it. When you never
Hmm.
even attempted to give yourself a shot.
Right.
You just accepted it.
Yes. Yep. And also that ties into when he was talking about um our values as well. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
those a lot of mindsets, values, just the way that we move in different things is like passed down. You know what I mean? Whether
Yes.
it may be considered right or wrong, it's passed down. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it always takes that person, multiple, but every person is that person in their own right to make the decision that it's not. You know what I mean? To make the decision that they're going to do something different instead of just like passively taking what's been given to them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes people don't even have that belief. That's why one of my favorite sayings that I heard is because I heard it and also relate to it, is that representation is important
It
because
is.
when you are able to see people that look like you, and of course I'm talking from the standpoint of a black woman in America, but this applies to every individual.
Mm-hmm.
When you see someone like you in, higher positions or just doing things that you may not have seen before, like, like you mentioned earlier, don't always have to be super big, but
Mm-hmm.
just an idea that you didn't even connect yourself to because you never saw it. But once you see it, it brings it into your awareness, and you're like, like, oh, I can be short and be a model
Mm-hmm.
because you only ever see tall models, but if you see a
Mm-hmm.
short model, you're like, oh, this person is short and they're a
Like
model.
Eva, Eva, what's her
Yeah,
name?
Marcel.
Marcel. She's short.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think she's 5'9" though. Well, I guess it
No,
might be.
she's not.
She's not.
No, she's not. I think she's like 5'7", 5'6", 5'7", which is short for a model. Like
That's
she is
very
not
short.
runway model height
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah. So I was I like her. I was just watching her on
I
the
think
Breakfast
five
Club a couple
seven. I
weeks
think
ago.
she's like 5'7", maybe
Yeah,
five
I
seven,
really
five
like
eight or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, I really like Eva. But those are, just different examples of why representation is important. And then, as you were talking about that, made me just think back to like where I grew up, the type like my neighborhood environment where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder like if you've never seen that, if you can really grasp what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-mm.
if you've never seen that, because I wonder if so when some people hear that, they're like, it don't really sound like much to think different.
I think it doesn't register if they haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I don't think it registers. I don't think
Right.
it's understood um unless
Because
they've either experienced it or seen it.
right.
Like I
Because
don't
you,
think it
you you can
registers.
really be in an environment where growth and improvement is just not the standard. It's
Mm-hmm.
not it. The standard is to be in a cycle of whatever is happening around you. It's just to
Yes.
be in a cycle, and what's powerful about chapter 5, just in the title alone, is that you're always choosing. You're
Mhm.
always making a choice every single time. Every single thing that you do, you're choosing.
Yes.
So that also means that you have the power to flip the script whenever you want to, you know.
Yep. But yeah, that chapter really got me. That chapter because it's just. But I also thought about how I know you were talking about representation,
Hmm.
and honestly, I don't know why, but I feel like the impact of representation is losing momentum today.
Really interesting.
I do. I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's losing momentum because I think that people are I think it's gotten so bad. Remember when we were talking about that cycle of just constant outrage and just
Hmm.
constant
Hmm.
it's just gotten so bad that I even think sometimes representation doesn't work anymore. Because
Mm.
I see people say stuff like, you know, oh well, you had this and you had that. It's like they find ways to say, even if you, let's say two people, same grew up, same circumstances, one person did one thing, one person didn't.
Hmm.
And I've seen people arguing in that situation, and the person who didn't make it out saying, well, you had this and you had that and you had this in your favor and you had, it's like even the representation of it is not enough.
Hmm.
It's still nitpicking to be. angry,
Right.
to be outraged. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And
Like,
and today I think 'cause that's a good point. And I was gonna ask you how you meant it, so I'm glad you explained it because I wasn't sure if you meant like on the generational level, like or just in general, like just society as a whole is
honestly,
losing
in
power.
general, but
Yeah.
sometimes generationally too,
Mhm.
because I just feel like, you know, I don't know. There's so many things that I admire about like the younger generations. There's so many things I admire because I could see where they're building upon.
Mhm.
I could see it,
Mhm.
but then there's so many places of just being stuck.
Right.
And I don't
Well,
understand where that comes from. I don't
right.
understand why, because there's so many more things open and
Yes.
available now.
Uh-huh. And that's what I was gonna say, to the example that you just gave about two people that could be from the same circumstances and go the opposite directions. And then you have one
Hmm.
person that's like, you had this, you had that, then you have the other person. Well, the reason I would say representation is important even more so is because the representation does not necessarily have the same impact on everybody. You have to be looking for it. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? You
Hmm.
have to be looking for it. You have to be looking for examples of people. And I'm saying looking like not necessarily incessantly like searching, but you have to be open to the idea of
Hmm.
that. You know what I mean? Like if you are like me and you grow up in New Orleans, Louisiana, in the Ninth Ward, which anybody that knows anything about New Orleans knows what type of area that
Hmm.
is. My parents did not have a lot of money at all. Like I had a really, really like poor childhood. And a lot of
Yes.
people, unless I just say that, like they may kind of know, but no, they don't really know because
Hmm.
the mindset was not ever that. Like my parents did not play that when it comes to us mentally. Even if this is our situation right now, there's so much more to the whole world than what you see
Hmm.
around you. You know what I mean? So when somebody has that mindset, they're going to look for examples of other things. Whereas
Gotcha.
somebody that may not have somebody to tell them that, or maybe they just don't believe in themselves, they may look at
Hmm.
that same piece of representation and criticize it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? They'll criticize it. Well, they had this and I didn't have that. But did you ever look for resources? Did you ever find out how you can learn and you know what I mean, build skills?
Hmm.
Like, have you ever tried to tap into your abilities, or did you just always say that you didn't have any?
Yeah, and see, I always see people arguing. I call it it's like competitive suffering. Like
Yes. Oh
people
my
will
gosh.
argue about
Right.
who
Yeah.
suffered more, and
Yeah.
I had less and you had, you know what I mean? Like, why are
Right.
we doing that? Why are
Right.
we doing that?
Why?
But yeah, I
Yeah.
see that so much though. Like, it's like who suffered more.
hmm
And
Right.
this is why I couldn't do it, because I had this, and then you had this, and it's like, but you both still
hmm
suffered.
Right.
Like, we shouldn't do that. But I see that all the time. Like, I'm like, what is this? A race? A
Yeah.
battle of who suffered more?
Right. But
That's.
also the way I divide things for me mentally. This just helps on my own sanity.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have more than two different groups of people.
Yes.
But I will break these people down into two groups of people. You have the let me, you know, reference to our last book, you have the let me people, the accountability people, the my responsibility, understanding that it's not my fault, but it's still my responsibility. You have the people that want to pursue being content and happy and
Mm.
not struggling,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have those people, and every single person will go on their own path to reach whatever destiny they want. They will find out what resources they need to. They will, like we was talking about earlier, T, they'll learn how to budget. They'll create a 5-year plan, even if it's something nobody around them has ever done before. They will take those steps because they want something else. Then you have people, the other group of people, who will say, my parents were so evil to me as a child
Yeah.
that I have so much trauma and I have so much shame and I have so much hatred that I can't even see past anything that happened to me.
Mhm.
And so they kind of go through life, like you mentioned, maybe criticizing the people that have grown.
Mhm.
They have whatever focus, they cannot focus because they're anchored down by trauma and
Right. Right.
self-limiting beliefs and all these different things that they can't
Mhm.
move forward. And they'll forever be in two different groups of people until this side changes, until your mindset shifts and you're
Till your
like,
mind shifts to the
until your
others.
mind
Yep.
shifts and you're like,
Mhm.
no, all you have to do is make a decision. No, this is not true. And the thing is, like, in theory and just discussing it, it sounds maybe simple. Just change your mind. No, it does take work.
It is not simple. It
It's
is
not simple.
not
No,
simple.
no, it's not simple. You would literally be choosing a different hard. You'll be
Mhm.
choosing a different hard once you decide to retrain your mind and re envision what success and contentment and happiness looks like.
Right.
You'll be fighting your own because he said that in his book too, T, and I I related to it, but I don't know where to find it. It was the part where he basically was saying, like, once you make a decision to change something, um, once you make a decision to change something, that initial time that you change, you will have like that old pattern
Mhm.
still there. Like maybe criticizing yourself about what you're trying to change. But you
Mhm.
have to just recognize that as old programming. What part I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
he was talking about shifting your values. It was
Yeah,
in the shifting your values section where you've told yourself in your brain what you can and cannot. You've almost limited yourself
right.
in your own mind
Absolutely.
because of what you're placing your value on.
Yep.
I think that's the part you're talking about.
I believe so. All right. So T, are you ready for me to read the gem drop?
Yes, do your gem drop. I'm
All
sorry we
right.
went off on that tangent. It was a
No,
good. It
it's
was a
fine.
good.
T, this is our hour. This is what we do. All right. So, um, to refrain from reading like too much, I chopped it. I chopped the gem drop, but it's coming from chapter 6, the first part of chapter 6, where it says, "You're wrong
Mm-hmm.
about everything, but so am I."
Okay.
And I'm gonna start on page 117, just in the middle,
Okay.
where it says, um, "We shouldn't seek to find the ultimate right answer for ourselves, but rather we should seek to chip away at the ways that we're wrong today so that we can be a little less wrong tomorrow."
Mm.
When viewed from this perspective, personal growth can be actually quite scientific. Our values are our hypothesis. This behavior is good and important. That behavior is not. Our actions are the experiments. The resulting emotions and thought patterns are our data.
Ah.
Mhm. There is no correct dogma or perfect ideology. There is only what your experience has shown you to be right for you. And even then, that experience is probably somewhat wrong too. And because you and I and everyone else all have different needs and personal histories and life circumstances, we will all inevitably come to differing correct answers about what our lives mean and how they should be lived. My correct answer involves traveling alone for years on end, living in obscure places, and laughing at my own farts. Or at least that was the correct answer up until recently. That answer will change and evolve because I change and evolve as I grow older and more experienced. I chip away at how wrong I am, becoming less and less wrong every day. Many people become so obsessed with being right about their life, they never end up actually living it. A certain woman is single and lonely and wants a partner, but she never gets out of the house and does anything about it. A certain man works his behind off and believes he deserves a promotion, but he never explicitly says that to his boss. They're told that they're afraid of failure, of rejection, and of someone saying no. But that's not it. Sure, rejection hurts, failure sucks, but there are particular certainties that we hold on to, certainties that we're afraid to question or let go of, values that have given our lives meaning over the years. That woman doesn't get out there and date because she would be forced to confront her beliefs about her own desirability.
Mm,
That man doesn't ask for the promotion because he would have to confront his beliefs about what his skills are actually worth. It's easier to sit in a painful certainty that nobody would find you attractive, that nobody appreciates your talent, than to actually test those beliefs and find out for sure.
ooh, that was
Beliefs
deep.
of, yeah. Oh, I got a little bit more.
No, go ahead.
Um, beliefs of this sort, that I'm not attractive enough, so why bother, or that my boss is an a-hole, so why bother, are designed to give us moderate comfort now by mortgaging greater happiness and success later on. They're terrible long-term strategies, yet we cling to them because we assume we're right. Because we assume we already know what's supposed to happen. In other words, we assume we know how the story ends. Certainty is the enemy of growth. Nothing is for certain until it has already happened. And even then, it's still debatable. That's why accepting the inevitable perfections of our values is necessary for any growth to take place. Yes,
That's
that was a
awesome.
gem.
It was a gem. It absolutely was.
So when I
It's a
was like,
never ending cycle.
it's a never ending cycle, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also, that made me think because what might I be afraid of that is not actually something I'm afraid of, but there's a belief being challenged? That's
Mm,
some real, like, that's some deep digging self awareness stuff you got to really think about. Like, take a fear. This is how I would do it. I would take a fear, even if it's a fear, because I know for myself, I'm getting over it as I get older, and as I just kind of relax and breathe more and just be present.
mm-hmm.
But for a very long time, I had a fear of success. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? I had a fear of success in the sense of like, um, I guess not knowing what to expect, not even really questioning my ability, but not knowing what to expect when I reach a certain level, and that has subconsciously kept me in a lot of different ways from performing at my um highest potential.
Yes.
So
I
what? So,
understand
so, so
that.
I,
I relate
right.
so much.
Yeah, so I would take that
Mm-hmm.
belief of like, or that fear of success and say, what am I actually, according to what he said, what am I actually afraid to test out and prove? You know, because I don't have the data for it necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
What am I afraid? But I don't really know. I would really have to ask myself that question. What am I afraid of? I
I
don't
can
know.
tell you this. I have a very similar feeling.
Mhm.
Like I have a I have a cap on where
Mhm.
I would want to go.
Mhm.
Like as far as that's concerned, as far as success wise, like I have a
Mhm.
cap on it. And I know that that stems from my desire not to stray too far from where I'm
Mhm.
from. I
Mhm.
don't want to go too far from where it is because
Mhm.
I there's something in me that wants to relate. I want to still be
Mhm.
eh, I don't know how to explain. I think you know what
Yeah,
I'm
I do. I
saying.
actually do. I do understand what you're saying.
You know
Yeah.
that saying people forget where they came from and stuff, and like I don't want to
Mhm.
go to a place where lose
Right.
touch with that. I think
Mhm.
that's, and I
Yeah.
have purposely limited some things for myself because of that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I
Mhm.
I think we do carry those things. That's why I think this part of that part of the book, when we were talking earlier before we got up here, that's why I
Mhm.
was saying it hit me so hard, because I know that I have,
Mhm.
and it's from beliefs, it's from
Right.
values
Mhm.
that I'm carrying. I'm carrying more value of keeping
Mhm.
that tie.
Yeah. Well, the beautiful thing is, T, that we wrap this all together is reminder alert. You're always choosing.
Mhm.
So you can always say, no, I don't want that value. If that's how you feel. You know what I mean? You can always say, I don't want to let this thought hold me back from
Right.
doing. You know what I mean? Like you can always make the choice to just turn around, to just stop it. You know?
Mhm.
I made the choice, or am actively making the choice, because it is an active pursuit. That thing is important too. You know what I mean? Like, um,
Yes.
I was at the, I go to Kingdom Hall on Sundays. I was at the Kingdom Hall earlier, and one of the things they were talking about is in the Bible, Paul talks about stripping off the old personality and putting on a
Mhm.
new personality. And when we read about that, we talk about, as far as being imitators of Christ, okay, yeah, take off the old personality, put the new personality back on. But real life for everybody, us, everybody, and even in Paul's example, this was something he had to repeatedly do. He had to repeatedly strip off and replace with new, strip
Mhm.
off and replace with new. So, there's always going to be a aspect of work that you have to put
To be
in
done. Yeah.
to reach another level.
Mhm.
And just because you do it once don't mean that you don't have to continually do it. Like if somebody's just at the very beginning of learning to think differently, don't think that you can just read some affirmations once a day, every so often,
Mhm.
and then your mind
Boom,
starts
that's
to
it.
change.
Yeah.
That's not what's going to happen.
No.
No, because as powerful, because you also hear people say, "Oh, affirmations don't work," but how are you using affirmations? You know what I mean? Because something
Mhm.
else I actually just learned yesterday. Well, I didn't just learn it yesterday, but something reminded me of it yesterday, is how our brain, like the neurons in our brain, how they actually take messages.
Mhm.
So you can rewire your mind. You can really rewire your brain to think something else, but it's not going to be from saying affirmations every so often. You have to have a
Mhm.
routine. You have to know when your brain, do the research to know when your subconscious mind is more susceptible to not fighting back to your
Absolutely.
affirmations.
Absolutely.
When are you going to meet your brain at a place that has the least resistance so you can get these positive messages in? And how consistent are you with that? To see the change. It's going to be a daily thing. It's going to be a daily thing for a couple months, a couple years, possibly. But the good news is, as you're still putting that work in, you're also seeing changes.
Mhm.
It's not one of those things that you have to put all the work in on the front and then it's just going to be boom, everything's
Mm,
different.
yeah,
No, you're going to
exactly.
slowly see things changing around you. That's why it's so important to just be present, you know?
And I welcome everybody that's come in. I see Rhonda has come in, and I do agree with you. Nazir was basically saying prayer, affirmation is prayer.
Yes, I agree.
Affirmation and prayer. They are.
Hmm.
And it's a constant thing. It's something
Yep.
you're supposed to be in constant practice of.
Yep.
Constant practice of. So yes, because
I
we
agree.
are in essence trying to become more and more
Hmm.
like him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can't do that with the flip of a switch. You
Nope.
have to keep constantly. constantly, almost like you were talking about with the affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
Osling, constant cycle
Mm-hmm.
practice
Yeah,
of, yeah. So I saw that. I felt you on that, Nazir.
absolutely. So I forgot what point we were talking about that led me down there, but um one thing that I love always bringing it back to is just how much power we really have.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? How much power we really have. Even if you're somebody that is riddled with anxiety, I can relate to anxiety. When my mom passed, I could relate to depression, but thankfully, that is not a spirit that I carry. Is depression. I'm not a depressed person. I'm so happy to be able to say that because when I am, I'm a completely different person, and I go
Yeah.
all the way. You know, like my husband was telling me the other day, you struggle with balance. He was like, in every aspect, like you struggle with balance. When you are good and you feeling good, I don't not all the way high, like all bouncing off the wall, but it's just that when I'm low, I don't have a medium low. I'm gonna be okay, but if I'm low, I'm like all the way down there. So
uh,
I really do stay away from depression. But anxiety is something that I tend with, just not even by choice. I wake up with it in my chest. I don't choose to.
mm-hmm.
But even if you're someone that like me that may, have a high level of anxiety, you don't necessarily just have to accept that. You can do research about natural things you can do to help with anxiety, like breathing deeply,
Mm-hmm.
like exercising, journaling, like any situation. And I'm using anxiety as an example because it's something I can personally relate to, but any situation that you're in, if you're watching this and you have financial problems, especially if you're an able-bodied person, you have even more. You have a privilege, especially if you're an able-bodied person, to research and find out what ways you can add to your income. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily mean get rich quick schemes. I mean, what skills can you acquire? What classes can you take? How can you promote yourself? If you have a natural ability, how can you learn how to promote this natural ability into something that is income? But you have to first want to change and want to do something different. But there's always an avenue. And you're always choosing, like Mark Manson said.
Yep, you have the choice. Go this way, go that way, but it's always your choice. Like you're making that conscious decision on whether you want to even attempt.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not saying, it's like you were talking about with the anxiety and all that stuff. It doesn't mean that you're never going to have anxiety again.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that, it'll be gone completely.
Right.
It just means that you're finding ways, you're choosing to say, okay, this is what I'm dealing with, but this is what I can do to help, to,
Yeah. And
you
T,
know,
another example just came up because I didn't even think about that when I was talking about anxiety. But the OCD guys, the people with the
mhm,
OCD, you
yes,
know, the
their
even he
OCD
used an
never
example.
goes away,
Right.
but they can learn things and coping mechanisms that
Mhm.
help them to live a fulfilling life despite still having the OCD.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like you could find ways there are, but you have to want to.
You have to want to, because even those three examples he gave, was it three? I think he gave three examples of, I don't know if they were teen. I just say
There
people.
were
I don't remember the age.
teenagers, three
Teenagers.
OCD, three
Teenagers.
different cases with
Yes.
different, they all
Uh-huh.
had different hangups or
Right. They
ticks or
all
whatever
had
they call it. Yep.
different,
Mm-hmm.
things with OCD. One of them was someone that needed to level out everything. So if they shook your hand with their right hand, they had to shake it with your left, and this was for everything. Then you had one person that tapped on everything when they passed. I don't remember the other person, but I think that was the most common case of OCD. Just like, oh yeah, he would not
The
eat.
other person was a germaphobe.
Yes, he would not eat out. He would not eat
Mm-hmm.
any food that he didn't see prepared. And all three of these teenagers, what they did first, they went to a place where they got help.
Yep.
They went to a place where they got help. And they all saw improvements. Even though they were not cured, you cannot be cured from OCD. Um, they all left with more manageable symptoms. They all learned tactics to help them, you know.
But Number one, they had to seek the help.
Mhm.
That was them taking control of it. But number two, they actually had to put in the work. They
Mhm.
actually had to utilize the tools they were given,
Right.
which was not easy.
Mhm.
You remember that part where he was talking about they were crying, there were
Mhm.
anxiety attacks.
Right.
Like it was not an easy process to make improvement.
Mhm.
So it's really about not only you seeking the help, but what you put in,
Mhm.
what you put into to that, how much
Yeah.
effort you give it,
Right. And
you know.
also some of the same themes that he's talked about previously about how just accepting the fact that the pain is unavoidable will help you a lot. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Just accepting that you cannot escape suffering in any capacity will help you get over that, because at least you know that if you're going through something and you're being challenged, it's for a positive outcome. You know, it's something that you
Hmm.
choose. So yeah.
Just like I watched someone on, I forgot the name. I watched someone on Instagram that has no arms, no legs.
Hmm.
And I watched this person do some of the most like you can't believe that they're able to do some of the things. Look at what they took their situation that they
Right.
cannot fix
Hmm.
and are trying to make the best out of what they have.
Right.
They could be depressed.
Hmm.
They could be saying woe is me. They could be just suffering in their circumstance. But they're
Hmm.
thriving with what they have. You know what I mean? But that takes
Right.
a mindset to say, okay, this is what I have.
Hmm.
What can I do from here? What can
Yep.
I do to make my life as fulfilling as it could be?
Hmm.
That takes a lot of that. That's hard work.
It
It's
is.
not an
Hmm.
easy thing because I think initially be we want to kind of be coddled by
Hmm.
our
Struggle.
sadness and
Yeah.
victimization and all those things. We want that. Like it's a safety in that. There's a
Hmm.
comfort in it.
Hmm.
And to break out of that is just an
It's
amazing
it's like it's
thing.
a comfort in the thought that your circumstances have not changed because they can't.
Hmm.
It's a comfort in they can't change. Like, even though I hate this situation, I can't
Hmm.
change it. Versus saying, how can I change this? What can I do differently? What choices? No,
Yes.
because first of all, it's gonna take you out of your comfort zone. And then, like he said, like I was just mentioning, every decision that you make will come with struggles and good and struggles. So you just have to pick. You have to pick which
Mhm.
ones you're able to tolerate. Um, to achieve whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Yep. And
I had a
welcome everyone that's come in. I see Candy. I see Sabrina.
Hi
I
Candy,
think
hi
I acknowledged
Sabrina,
Rhonda earlier. I wanted to make sure.
hi
Uh,
Rhonda.
Definitely spoke to Nasir. I just want to make sure we're acknowledging everyone that has come
Absolutely,
in. We really appreciate you for
we
coming
do.
by and listening to our discussion. But
Yep.
yeah, Kendi said it's a mindset shift.
Hmm.
Hmm. And it takes work to get there. Like it's
It
not
does.
immediate. That's not
It's
an
not.
immediate thing, especially the more challenging the situation is,
Yes.
the
Hmm.
harder it is to just be like, okay, what can I do with this?
Right.
What I have. And I
Hmm.
thought immediately back to the let them theory when she was talking about the cards you're dealt
Hmm.
and dealing with the cards that you can't worry about what's in somebody else's hand.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I thought back to legendary on when you think about this from a first person standpoint, it just emphasizes why it's absolutely impossible to try to change anybody else.
Mhm.
Like, if you have to
You
go
can't
through
even
all
change
this,
yourself.
yes, if you have to go through all of this just to change
It's hard enough to
yourself,
change yourself.
you fighting a losing battle trying to change anybody else.
I mean, if you as difficult as it is to change things with you,
Hmm.
even after you recognize it,
Right.
look how many times we acknowledge that we have this issue. I acknowledge that I'm like this. I know that and how hard it is though to shift ourselves
It
away.
is. It is because you're for me personally, my biggest thing that I want that I've been working on and I want to have down pat in some aspect is consistency. Now, I've been talking about that for a long time. I know you've heard me talk about that since I met
Mm,
you. That's been 2024. And so it's like one of those things that is like, why is this? And honestly, I can say I've gotten a lot better. Thank you, Lord.
you are improving a lot.
Yes,
Finally, you
I've got
are.
a, but it has been a constant thing. You know what I mean? And the other day, saw one of my in laws, and I would be seeing him at the gym, and he was like, what was he saying? He said something like, he basically said something about seeing me at the gym.
Hmm.
And I was like, no, I was like, yeah, I was going, but I ain't been going as much as I really want to. He was like, really? I just saw the truck there a couple mornings ago. And it kind of like made me remember, well, I was like, you have been going. Like,
That
it's
you've
not like
been
you just ain't
going.
been
Yeah.
going. It's like in my mind, I haven't reached the goal of what I'm trying
Hmm.
to do. But I even needed the reminder that you have still been showing up.
You've been
It's
showing
been
up for
times in your
yourself.
life.
Yeah.
It's been times in your life where you was not going at all. You know what I mean? So like bear with yourself, but it's a constant thing. Even if it's
Hmm.
on your mind to be changing something, um, you're gonna always be fighting against what feels comfortable
Yes.
until your new habit or your new thing is what's comfortable and normal. But it's gonna always be a push and a pull and a push and a pull.
Hmm.
You cannot give up on whatever it is that you're trying to do. You just can't give up on it. And also, one thing I'm learning too is when and if you do step have a setback, do not automatically dim yourself as a failure. Do not
Hmm.
dim yourself as a failure. If you're supposed to be working with your mind in a positive way to achieve great things, don't let your mind hear you call yourself a failure. You know, because your mind is working for you.
Yep.
So if you start calling yourself a failure, am I gonna be like, excuse me? Like I'm trying my best, you know?
That's
So
like that
like
saying, watch how you talk to yourself because you are
yeah.
listening.
You are listening exactly. So it's all about, I think first of all being patient with
Hmm.
ourselves and also knowing that we have the ability and never forgetting that we have the ability to change any situation at any given moment. We always reserve that right. Will everybody be happy with you changing? No. Will you lose friends? And he talked about that too. Will your circles change? Yes.
Hmm.
But all these things are necessary to change for you to reach the goal that you're trying to reach. You just have to have faith that everything will be replaced with equal or better,
And
you know?
he actually puts it in a very good perspective with the whole you're just trying to be a little better than you were before.
Yes. Yep.
You're striving for that next level of being better than you were before. Not
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to be reach this level of perfection or whatever,
Exactly.
but that
Yeah.
you're improving on yourself each
Mm-hmm.
time, a little bit at the time. That's why it's never really a failure.
Right.
It's just a work in progress.
Yep. But you have to keep getting up. The only time you fail
Mhm.
is if you completely quit.
Yep.
And then it also makes, and we gotta go. Our hour went by fast today,
Oh
but
man, we've been talking and talking.
yeah. But
We've been
also,
going at it today.
right, also reminds me of a funny saying where it says like people be like, it took me 10 years to be overnight success. Because
Mhm.
like it's not gonna happen overnight. You just gonna keep on, and then all of a sudden you're gonna look around and be like, whoa. It was like 10 years. It took me 10
Exactly.
years to be an overnight success. Hmm.
Yep. It's just about the work that you put in and making sure that you're dedicated to that constant improvement. Just
Yep.
constantly putting in that work
Hmm.
and being
Absolutely.
honest with yourself too.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. So We have
Get this
chapter.
book, y'all. I'm trying to tell you, it
Yeah.
looks small, but there is so much packed into these chapters.
Hmm.
Like Oslin said when we first got up here, she said if we had known how much he puts into each chapter, we probably would have done one chapter at a time
Yeah.
because there's so many little stories and tidbits that he puts in each chapter.
Hmm.
But it's a good read. It's a
It
very, very
is.
good read.
And it's also one that I like, kind of like that it's compact, because this is one that you can re-listen to
Mm-hmm.
and get new things out of it constantly.
Yes.
I actually love books like that too. And I believe the audiobook is only 5 hours or something like
Yes.
that. So the audiobook is not really anything super long. So it's just a
Yep.
really good read overall.
It is. It really is. And I was like I said, I was a little skeptical, but at the same time,
Hmm.
I love that it's really just plain. There's no fluff.
Yeah, no
He's
fluff.
it's not PC. It's no fluff. It's just
Hmm.
straight to the point, and I kind of like that too.
I love that. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that.
I can appreciate that too. But you want to go ahead and give our final thoughts, or
All
is there
right. Well,
anything that you wanted to close out with?
not really. No, I don't have anything else to close out with. Not according to each chapter. It's just we'll be talking about what we're gonna be doing next week.
Yes, we will be
So,
doing chapters what 7 and 8,
7 and 8. Yep, 7 and 8.
and then we'll only have one more week left of this after next week because it's only 9 chapters.
Yep. Awesome. We like really going through
So
this book.
please, please, please be prepared to come on the panel at least for the chapter 9 one.
Yes.
Because we're only going to have one chapter and we're going to want to do like an overview of everything.
Hmm.
So hopefully we'll get some people to come up.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That was
Yes.
so much fun talking to Sabrina last week.
Yes. It
That was very
was.
fun. It
And when
was
Kendi
K
came
came on.
on the time
Yep.
before, it was just fun. It's more engaging
Hmm.
that way.
Absolutely. But this has been a pleasure as always, everyone.
Always.
Yes, thank everybody for watching and tuning in live. I think Rhonda said something. Let me look real quick.
Oh,
Uh,
did I miss it?
Rhonda said, "It's the choices you make on how you deal with every situation." Absolutely.
Why did that thing? See, this is what I can't stand about StreamYard.
Hmm.
Look how it plugged itself with my name in the
Oh.
chat.
Oh, let me see.
I did not put that in there.
Oh,
Talk
that's
about a
funny.
discount code. StreamYard. You plugging yourself.
That is funny. They
Hilarious.
want
Oh
some
my
props
goodness.
because our stream didn't get interrupted this
Yeah.
time. So they're like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. But who oh, what's the name of the book? It is
Yes.
The Subtle Art of Not Giving AF. It's by Mark Manson.
Yep. Hi, Carol
Hi,
Barnes.
Carol.
All right. Well, I think that's it, T.
All righty. Well, we
All
will see you
right. Bye,
guys next week,
everybody.
same time. Bye,
Yep.
everybody. And thank you to everyone that came in and everyone who will watch on the replay.
Yep. All right. Y'all have a good week. Talk to you
All
later, T.
right. Bye, Oslin.
Bye.
Peace, y'all.